Alright, so after fumbling around like a groom on his wedding night, here's what we got. We have a squirt of glue here. We have a squirt of glue to keep that wedge locked into place, plus a little bit underneath the shell to keep that locked down. Here's another wedge with more glue there. And finally, one more shot of glue there. Those 4 little squirts of glue are plenty to keep the shell stuck to the tabletop. Take 3. Let's go ahead and assemble this jig. Here's how I put the side on. We have a bolt with a fender washer. Goes through that slot. We have a side piece, a washer, and another nut. And there will be a little bit of fussing around, but as you can see, we'll have some pretty good control when we put on the rails to straighten the router. Alright, the router track is pretty easy. This is just very basic aluminum angle. And all what I'm going to do is screw that into place. And the router is going to ride in that track. Alright, the drum shell is mounted in the rig. The router track is set up. And before I cut the shell, I'm going to give the tabletop a little spin just to make sure that none of the staves are going to catch or cause any interference with the router track. And having given a quick spin, good to go. For this demonstration, I have extended the router bit a lot, just so that you can have some clarity. The rotation of the router bit, when the router is in this configuration, is going to be clockwise. As woodworkers, what we like to do is have the wood go against the bit, and that is, we would rotate the shell counterclockwise, which would be going against the rotation of the router bit. To make sure that I don't get a lot of splintering, I'm actually going to be rotating the table clockwise. And I'm going to do 2 demonstrations. The first one will be counterclockwise, where you will see comparatively a lot of splintering. The second rotation will be clockwise, called a climb cut, and that will minimize the splintering. Alright, let's check what we have. You can see that there's quite a bit of splintering that occurs both on the inside and the outside of the shell when we rotate against the rotation of the router bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up this cut and then set up to do a climb cut. Now I'm going to climb cut, and on the inside edge I'm going to rotate the shell clockwise, and on the outside edge I'm going to rotate the shell counterclockwise to match the rotation of the bit. Because this process easily allows the router bit to grab, take very light cuts and keep a firm hand, and if something doesn't feel safe, stop. let's take a look at that edge. And coming straight off the router, you can see very little splintering at all by using the climb cutting method. Where we used to have quite a bit of splinters, now we have a very sharp edge both inside and outside. Alright, so let's take stock of what we have. What we have here is an edge that's generally pretty good. I like to give a couple passes with a block plane to kind of level it off, but you can see that generally not a lot of splintering at all using the climb cutting technique. Both the inside and the outside are really nice. What this is going to allow us to do at this point, as we kind of clear away all the wood chips, here's some glue. We're going to go ahead and pop this glue off. We're going to do that at all places where we have the glue. And now all what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the shell off the table, clean up the mess, flip the shell over, and then do the other side.